Okay, I'm just curious if you know, like, the statistical likelihood of you texting your friend premeditated texts saying you wanted him to choke you out and steal his money, take his money, and him actually choking you out, and those two things not being related.
Boom! KO! Finished. Destructive finish. Yo, she just, look at that smirk. That smirk, she's like, yo, I know what you're doing, and we ain't falling for it.
You are now listening to Pree Da Production with your host, Madaro.
What is up, my tribal people? Welcome back to another video on this YouTube channel. Yeah, that's what this is. And today we have got a doozy for you guys. We are going to be covering some allegations, some false allegations against star pitcher Trevor Bauer. I mean, I don't know why I haven't heard this story up until now, but it came out 8 days ago regarding the previous allegations of domestic Vs, DMVs, and allegations against former Dodgers star pitcher Trevor Bauer, who broke the record for the highest pitcher in Major League Baseball at a whopping $105 million over a 5-year period, I think. And he was accused by a female for domestic Vs and grape. Let's just be real. You know how it is. Suspended, contracts, terminated, endorsements in the bin. And he has been fighting this legal case for 2 years. She sued him, and then he's counter-sued for defamation. And now they have settled out of court. So that means no one's going to pay anyone's legal fees. So they've settled to be like, yo, let's drop this. And now he has come out with receipts clearing his name. And boy, it's a doozy. But before we get into it, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, because it goes a long way into growing this channel. And let's see what Trevor has to say.
Next victim, star pitcher for the Dodgers. A text Lindsey sent to a friend before she ever even met me. What should I steal? She asked another, in reference to visiting my house for the first time. The answer? Take his money. So how might that work? I'm going to his house Wednesday, she said. I already have my hooks in. You know how I roll. Then, after the first time we met, net worth is $51 million, she said. Bitch, you better secure the bag, was the response. But how is she going to do that? Need daddy to choke me out, she said.
Of course.
Absolute whore to try to get in on his $51 million, read another text. Then, after the second time we met, former Padres pitcher Jacob Nix told her, you gotta get this bag. I'll give you $50,000, Lindsey replied.
Rah, you even got the ops conspiring to get you out of here. That's crazy. Yo, whoever that guy is saying, yo, I'll give you 50K, he needs to get sued as well, because that's a mazza. First of all, you already know it's a mazza. You're in a group chat or talking to people over text about the criminal stuff that you're about to do. Rookie mistake. Are you dumb, bruv? You're asking to get caught. Like, people can find deleted text. Even if you deleted this, clearly people are able to find it. And once it's on the internet, once it's electronical, it's got a footprint. Like carbon, it's got a carbon footprint, it's got an internet footprint. And they were able to retrieve the text messages, thank God. And now she's getting exposed for an absolute gold-digging cow. That's the most politest way I can put it. God damn.
Her AA sponsor asked her at one point, do you feel a tiny bit guilty? Not really, she replied. Since then, her legal team has approached me multiple times about coming to a financial settlement. But, as I have done since day one, I refuse to pay her even a single cent. In August of 2021, Lindsey Hill's claims were heard in court. And during those legal proceedings, critical information was deliberately and unlawfully concealed from me and my legal team.
Of course.
Information like this video, which was taken by Lindsey Hill herself the morning after she claimed she was brutally attacked, emotionally traumatized, and desperate to get away from me. And now we have the metadata, so there can be no dispute. It was taken mere minutes before she left my house on the morning of May 16th, 2021, without my knowledge or consent, of course.
That is absolutely disgusting. Just deep it, right? When she originally brought these claims to the public, she had put pictures, right? Pictures of bruises and black eye, and it looked like something had happened to her. We don't know exactly what. We didn't know exactly what, but it looked like something had happened to her. Basically, another Amber Heard situation. She put on fake makeup. She claimed X, Y, and Z happened to her by this person, and there was just a whole bunch of people who ate that shit up. Just ate it up. Didn't care for any due diligence, and they just wrote his will to rights. They wrote this guy off and said this must be true. This is the problem with situations like this. Whoever comes out and accuses them first is already believed regardless, and it's obviously in the woman's favor because, you know, we understand the social dynamics within a relationship with a man and a woman. If it's toxic, it could end up with domestics. But when there's no evidence, real evidence, just pictures, I can't believe that. No one can take pictures of bruises with nothing else backing it, with no other witnesses, with no other video or some sort of other evidence backing it. We can't trust it. If you're saying, yo, this is what happened to me, and it's just pictures, I have to see more. But there's other people that are just going to be like, yeah, he did that shit, which I can't get behind. For example, Mason Greenwood. We heard everything. We heard what was going on. We heard the interactions. We heard the tone. We heard someone saying no, the other person saying, I don't care what you think. I'm doing this, and if you stop me, watch what happens. Clear cut. We understand. And it's hard to come back from that. Case example, Mason's out here in somewhere in the outskirts of Madrid, in the ghetto of Madrid, playing football. Cool. But when it comes to something like this and the Johnny Depp situation, when it's just pictures and there's nothing else backing it, we have to delve deeper. In
it, you can see her lying in bed next to me while I'm sleeping, smirking at the camera without a care in the world, or any marks on her face. I think it paints a pretty clear picture of what actually happened the evening of May 15th, and why the video was originally concealed from us. After hearing the evidence available to her, Judge Diana Gold-Saltman found that Lindsey Hill had misled the court. She found her claims to be materially misleading. She denied her request for a domestic violence restraining order, and she found that no sexual or non-consensual conduct took place. Now, some of you might not know about restraining order hearings. I know I didn't, but I've since learned that it's extremely rare for a request for a restraining order to be denied because the standard of proof that you need to obtain one is extremely low. So, you can make of that what you will. The fact is, I was never arrested. I was never charged with a crime, and I won the only legal proceeding that took place without my side of the story even being heard. And most importantly, as I've said from day one, I never sexually Lindsey Hill, or anyone else for that matter. So I sued her, which prompted her to countersue me. Quite frankly, regardless of the outcome in court, I've paid significantly more in legal fees than Lindsey Hill could ever pay me in her entire life. And I knew that would be the case going in. But the lawsuit was never about the money for me. It was the only way for me to obtain critical information to clear my name. The discovery process in that lawsuit recently concluded, at which point Lindsey Hill's legal team again came to us with another proposal to resolve the case. This time, however, they weren't seeking any money from me. Having received much of the information that had been hidden from us, a small portion of which I've referenced here, I was willing to agree to the terms proposed. Both parties would drop their respective lawsuits, and neither of us would pay either side any money. I also retained my right to speak publicly about the case, something I have not been at liberty to do since June of 2021. So, as of today, both lawsuits have been settled. Now, over the last 2 years, I've been forced to defend my integrity and my reputation in a very public setting. But hopefully this is the last time I have to do so, as I'd prefer to just remain focused on doing my job, winning baseball games and entertaining fans around the world. So today, I'm happy to be moving on with my life.
That's the sad thing about it. Regardless of what you do, there's going to be people who think you still did it, right? Regardless of the court hearing, regardless of the evidence, as soon as you're accused, it's game over. And look at how much money you have to spend just to clear your name, not even to get any restitution or reparations for the damages that have been caused to your reputation. You can't get that back. He's paid out through his nose just to clear his name. And she was still asking for money. Okay, I've accused you to make me go away. Let's come to an agreement. At that point, this ain't even about whether I did what you did, what you're accusing me of. This is just about money. As soon as you do that, I can't respect it. As soon as I hear you've done that, I can't respect it, because the American system, that's how it works. No one's, if you want a problem to go away, regardless of whether it's true or not, there's always the option of paying, because the legal process is expensive. And if you want something to go away and you don't want to go through all the hassle, you'd be like, okay, come on, how much you want? Because we already know that's what you want. That's what you wanted since day one, as you can see in the text. So let's come to the agreement. He said, hell no. I'm trying to clear my name. I'm not giving you a single cent. I don't care how much it costs me personally. You ain't getting crap. And this is the outcome. Thank God he was able to clear his name, because otherwise he would have been blackballed from not only Major League Baseball, but everything really, because that stain just follows you. And there's women like this that just love doing it because she's got victims. And how many victims has she had? We'll never know. And the funny thing is, she's still trying to claim that this happened, because she was on an interview with a personality, and she was putting her to task. After the judge put her to task and said, you are deliberately misleading this courtroom, another interviewer said, let's have a discussion over what really happened.
Lindsey, I mentioned Bauer's video in which he provided some receipts that, I'm going to be honest with you, make you look like a clout chaser, or I know some people are calling you a cleat chaser, because admittedly you were chasing after several high-profile, wealthy baseball players. Trevor says everything was completely consensual. He also released these text messages that came out in court indicating that you had planned the whole thing out. So I want to read some of these texts from you to a friend between the two of you before you met Trevor, this one. Next victim, star pitcher for the Dodgers. Okay. Victim is an interesting choice of words. I'm going to allow you a chance to explain yourself. But after you agreed to meet, you asked your friend what you should steal. Your friend answered his money. He says, another one from you to a friend, I'm going to his house Wednesday. I already have my hooks in. You know how I roll. With a screenshot in which you told him, tryouts don't scare me, Bauer. Pick a day and I am there. Here are some more after you and Trevor met up. Net worth is $51 million, to which your friend responds, bitch, you better secure that bag. Your text, need daddy to choke me out, being an absolute whore to try to get in on his $51 million. You say this wasn't a setup. How can you expect anyone to believe that?
That's a great question. I really appreciate you having me on to even have this conversation. Obviously, there's a lot going on around this, so I really appreciate people who are asking questions about it. The first thing I want to say is, I think that Trevor did this intentionally with the text messages and how he framed this video. There's several things in it that are not correct. And I just want to start out by saying, it's so valid for people to question those text messages. But the root of the problem here is that he is presenting this as one conversation, when in reality he had thousands of messages to choose from, took those, made it look sequential, which it was not. There is no combined screenshot of those things going on one after the other. And as I said last night as well, there's no text message that ever exists. Otherwise he would have, put it out there, combining, anything about a setup through rough sex, finances all in one. Those were hand.
Oh, shut up. What? Yo, stop waffling, fam. What? You're saying, just because we didn't have a conversation from A to B, totally discussing the plan, like, I'm going to do this, we're going to go here, I'm going to get him to do this, and then I'm going to do that, all within a space of an hour, that whole conversation, just because it's not all fixed in one time period, it doesn't matter that you said all these things. Shut up. 51 million. Next victim. I'm going to get him to do this. I'm going to secure the bag. Come on. no one needs a rocket science to put two together like you're trying to set this guy up. You're trying to do that. So you're just waffling. You are waffling.
And they were from multiple different conversations all before we met up. And I think that the video in general doesn't even talk about what actually happened between us two, which is what would have come out during a jury trial.
On that, he doesn't need to do that because he's already done a video like that. He doesn't need to go over what's happened between you two, because if you go to his channel, he's already done that. When he was first accused, he was like, this is what happens, and this is all consensual. I asked her if it was okay before. We agreed to the terms. We agreed to the boundaries. I continued to ask her during the process of us having this intercommunication, this tango, and then everything was fine afterwards. We met again and everything was fine. He's already done a video like that, so stop misleading the viewers, because we're not stupid.
These were all messages that happened before. And then, of course, the video is so valid as well for people to ask questions about. But I do think that video was entirely misleading. He also references the restraining order hearing, which people also have questions about. He says that he was cleared of any wrongdoing, which is actually incorrect. In our civil case, the judge had actually ruled that he had not been cleared of any wrongdoing, and that was a federal court judge. So
I want to get to the domestic violence restraining order hearing as well, but I mean, so you're saying that it's misleading because you're admitting that you did talk about rough sex and wanting rough sex. You did talk about him needing to choke you out. You did talk about stealing his money, but it's misleading because he put them together in the same video as if you had said it in the same conversation when in fact it was separate conversations, correct? That's why it's misleading?
Correct. And as well as not showing, the messages that occurred after where it discusses it strictly in the term of, being a baseball wife or something like that.
Or something like that. Okay. I'm just curious if you know, like, the statistical likelihood of you texting your friend premeditated texts saying you wanted him to choke you out and steal his money, take his money, and him actually choking you out, and those two things not being related.
Boo! KO! Finished. Destructive finish. Yo, she just, look at that smirk. That smirk, she's like, yo, I know what you're doing, and we ain't falling for it. Like, just the fact that there's numerous conversations of you discussing the same type of setup. Come on. We are not dumb.
It's a really, really valid question. And like I said, I think you would need to look through each conversation. Those were handpicked. But I can, like I said last night, completely own the fact that those were overly sarcastic, overly inappropriate to some may seem. And it does give off that impression about clout chaser and totally attention-seeking behavior. But I just feel that they have, nothing to do with what actually took place. But it does cause a lot of questions as to why I was, seeking Trevor out. But at the end of the day, there was nothing about a setup with violence and all of this stuff and getting financial gain. It was strictly, a 25 or however old I was at the time, girl trying to get attention from those things and phrasing it in a sarcastic way before we met. Okay.
So I've got a couple other questions on that. So you said in court that he sexually you on 2 different encounters, and you say the first time that you say he choked you unconscious. Clearly the insinuation is you didn't like it, because now you're calling it an assault, but why did you make the drive back to LA to meet back up with him a second time if this man had just assaulted you by your own account?
I think that's a really good question. How I phrased it and how I tried in the past is that I was so embarrassed by the first encounter that I felt something, deep in me to go and take the power back and to be better and to be what he wanted in a sense. And so,
what? You just claimed this guy has assaulted you and violated you, and your thinking is, okay, he's invited me a second time. I'm so embarrassed and so distraught. I'm going to go back, put myself in that same position so I can take the power back, be what he wanted. What? You're making no sense. And she needs to be in jail. She needs to be on an offenders list of some sort, because this is criminal behavior. This is lunacy behavior. And just before we finish this, right? Because I'm not listening to the rest of what she has to say because it's irrelevant, right? For guys who are in these circles of influence and power and wealth, like, when a woman says, choke me out, daddy, when she says, let's do this, throw me from here, grab me here, hit me here, don't do it. Don't do it. Whether you're into it or not, don't do it. Whether she consults to it or not, don't do it. Whether it's video or not, whether it's consensual, don't do anything like that. You're putting yourself at risk, because in one moment she could be like, yes, I love it. And then the next minute you're like, yo, it's a bit too much still. I wasn't feeling it like I thought I was. Like, yeah, I feel kind of violated. Like, there's evidence on my arms, there's on my neck and on my chest, and yo, you're cooked. You are cooked, so don't even play that game. Whenever women have said that to me, I'm like, yeah, you're gonna have to go to someone else with that. I'm not trying to do all that. That's not me. That's just not me. But let me know what you think about this whole fiasco. Do you feel like women like this needs to be persecuted and prosecuted and put in jail, or some sort of repercussions against their name? Or do you think that, you know, if you play silly games, you win silly prizes? Like, as always, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.
I be kidding on my foes, even though I got it all on my own. Success sweet, yeah.